Welcome back to Let's Talk Chatter That Matters. So let's get right into it.
Assalamualaikum everyone. My name is Marina. Today we're going to talk about the neglected in our community. So what is the neglected?
So for me, I feel like the elders in our community are neglected, and there's a lot more going on than people know. So as a domestic, like we're a domestic violence agency, and we have seen so many people, like literally couples left at the masjid, or there was a 77-year-old that was in the hospital and her 3 kids never came to pick her up. There are people, loneliness is something that people can die from. And we don't even realize how much it affects these elders when nobody's there to talk to them or have a conversation with them. Or if they hear that they have dementia, they don't even understand that they can still talk, they can still hear, they can still listen. They just don't remember things.
Yeah.
But just by not talking to them or not, having conversations with them, not spending time with them, you're actually making them feel isolated and lonely. And it's so sad because in our religion teaches us something completely different. Our religion teaches us to respect our elders, to give them time.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that's something that we're missing, we're lacking now in our communities. And we don't even know how many elders out there are just feeling that neglect. And then there's financial abuse as well. That's a whole nother story. But that neglect that they're feeling, the isolation that they're feeling is just sad.
Yeah.
I mean, we should be valuing this.
You're
this
so
generation.
right. Yeah, you're so right, because that's, in this generation, like a lot of, like we don't think of our parents as like a responsibility. We're like, oh, they take care of us. But when they're older, like, we're busy, like both of their spouses are working. They don't have time to take care of them. And when you're older, you need help, right? Like you need help changing them. You need help with their medications. You need help with, like normal things like eating, drinking. And then they're like, we don't have time for that. We don't have time to take care of our parents. So that's why we can just drop them off at a nursing home and take care of them there. But that's not realistic, because your parents want to be with you. Their family. They need love. They need to be surrounded by their community and family members. And it just, your loneliness is a real thing, and they get sad.
Yeah, even people who have like long-term illnesses or like even in comas, and people like people say, oh, they're brain dead, they can't hear you. But there's people that have waken up from comas and they're like, I heard you, I remember this or I remember that. In even though people think that they can't respond, but they do hear it.
Yeah. And when I worked at a nursing home, they just want to be next to you. They just want to talk to you, even like silly things, like, and they talk about their grandchildren. And that's the saddest part, is that they still love their kids and their grandchildren, even though they don't spend time with them. They don't visit. And
I
that's
used to
the
go
hardest
visit.
thing.
I used to go visit aunties, like older people in nursing homes. And you're so right. That's exactly. They would talk about their stories of their kids and how they used to. I remember this one auntie used to sew. She sewed for a living, and that's how she, earned money for her son, bring him to America. And she was so proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
But he just left her there, and he visited maybe once every 2 months, and she was always on the lookout for him. And then at the nursing home, they didn't even understand her language. So when she fell and broke her teeth, nobody even came for like 2 hours. And then finally they found her. And it's just like when you feel like you don't have to answer to anyone, then it's just like it's just like children, right? Children at daycares or with their babysitters. You're so worried. You're watching through cameras. Oh, is the babysitter taking care of them? Is this person taking care of them?
Mm-hmm.
But then the same thing is for our elders. They can't stick up for themselves. Sometimes they can't say things for themselves. So who's taking care of that? Who's sticking up for them?
Well, I think it starts with a community message for each of us, in terms of a tactical level, because we'll talk about this at a community level, but at an individual level for each of us, just to self-reflect and say, are we checking in with our elders? You mentioned the concept of, like, in Islam, yes, it tells us, but it's actually mandatory in Islam to actually look after your elders. And when we talk about elders, even your own parents, so whether you're in your 20s or in your teens, or in your 30s, your parents are elder. And a lot of times, they have a hard time asking for their needs. And so it's very important to check in with them.
That's right.
And a lot of times they have a difficulty even asking for something. The other thing too that I always think about, because it's the circle of life, and there's the hadith about And I think the hadith says, if a young man honors an elder on account of his age, then God appoints someone to take care of them. So it's kind of like,
Subhanallah.
it's like the golden rule of like, whatever you do, John, to others will come back to you. So,
And we're all gonna grow old.
yeah. So I think a good starting point is for each of us, kind of like just start with ourselves and think of yourself, like just in your own immediate family. Are you checking? If you don't live with your parents, are you checking in with them? If you have grandparents, are you checking in with them? A lot of times they don't ask, and then they just stay there quietly. But just when's the last time you actually had a deep conversation with a grandparent?
That's true.
Yeah.
Or an
Exactly.
older person. And I actually love talking to older people because I feel like they're so filled with wisdom.
Wisdom.
Yeah.
We're not even noticing their qualities. We're totally detracting from their qualities.
Yeah.
They have so much wisdom, so much to give back.
So much to learn from.
Yes.
Too, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's such a good point, Dr. Hamdan. Like if each of us looks within ourselves, that did we call our aunts or uncles or whoever we remember, when was the last time that we called them in our busy life?
Yeah.
They might not text as much. So
Yeah.
are they on our social media? Maybe they're not. So, why not reach out to them, call them?
Especially when you know that they're constantly thinking about their children, their grandkids, their nieces, their nephews,
Yeah, and I also want to make clear that the neglected are not just your elderly. They could be your siblings or like other family members that are younger than you that have been having long-term illnesses that, like they got into a car. Like we had a patient who got into a car accident and lost all of their limbs, and their parents couldn't take care of them, so they dropped them off at a nursing home and we took care of them, and they visited maybe on holidays like Christmas, and so that's also the neglected, like taking care of people that need help.
Yeah.
Right? Like to be there for them, to help them, to like make sure they're okay. So not just elderly, but honestly, everyone in our community. Like you never know who needs help and who needs to be there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And use your time, use your time wisely to give to someone who really needs it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We will be back next week, inshallah, in 2 weeks. So stay tuned.
Thank you for chatting with us today. Don't forget to subscribe and share our podcast. And tune in next week for your weekly dose of chatter that matters. See you next time.